At 52 years old, James Whittaker was handed a cardboard box and told to clear his desk. 26 years. Gone in 12 minutes. He drove home that day and sat in his car outside his house for 2 hours, because he didn't know how to walk in and tell his wife. But what James didn't know, sitting in that driveway, was that the worst day of his life was about to become the reason for everything good that came after it. This is a story about starting over, and why the table you build after you fall is stronger than the one that broke. James wasn't a failure. He was the opposite. He'd spent 26 years as a regional operations manager at a manufacturing company, the guy who fixed problems nobody else wanted to touch. He trained half the people who now outranked him. Then the company got acquired. New leadership came in with a spreadsheet and a list of redundant roles. James's name was on it, not because he was bad at his job, but because he was expensive, and someone younger could do 70% of it for half the price. Nobody prepares you for this kind of ending. There's no ceremony. No warning. Just a meeting room, folder, and a stranger reading from a script. He was 52. 2 kids in college. A mortgage. And a resume that hadn't been updated since 1998. For the first 3 months, James did everything right. He applied to 140 jobs. He got 4 interviews. Every single one ended the same way: "You're overqualified. We're looking for someone who can grow with us long term." Translation: "You're too old, and we think you're too expensive to keep happy." By month 4, the rejection emails stopped feeling personal and started feeling like static, background noise he'd learned to read without absorbing. That's a dangerous place to be. Not devastated. Just numb. His wife, Carol, noticed it first. He'd stopped talking at dinner. He'd stopped going for his morning walk. One night she found him in the garage at 11 p.m., not doing anything. Just standing there, staring at an old workbench his father had left him 20 years earlier. Carol didn't say much. She just asked one question: "What did you used to love doing, before any of this had to make money?" James thought about it for 3 days. Then he remembered, as a kid, he used to build things with his father in that same garage. Birdhouses. Shelves. A rocking chair for his mother that still sits on her porch. He hadn't touched a piece of wood in 15 years. The next morning, he didn't send out a single job application. He picked up his father's old chisel, found a scrap piece of oak in the garage, and started making a small side table. Not for money. Not for a customer. Just because his hands needed something to do that wasn't refreshing his email. It took him 9 days to finish. It wasn't perfect. One leg was slightly shorter than the others. But when he ran his hand across the surface, something in his chest loosened for the first time in 4 months. James posted one photo of that table in a local Facebook group. No expectations. Just, made this, thought I'd share it. 40 minutes later, a woman offered him $180 for it. He almost said no. It felt strange taking money for something you made just to feel human again. But Carol told him, "James, that's not charity. That's someone recognizing your work is worth something." That $180 wasn't life-changing money. But it was proof of something bigger, that the skill he'd dismissed as just a hobby had real value. Not corporate value. Real, human value. So he made another table. Then a bench. Then a set of shelves for a neighbor. Each piece a little better than the last. Each sale a little less surprising. 8 months after losing his job, James registered a small business. He called it Whittaker and Company. He built a simple website, nothing fancy, just photos and prices. His son helped him set up an Instagram page. Was it instantly successful? No. Some months he barely broke even. There were nights he still doubted himself, still wondered if he should just go back to applying for corporate jobs he knew he'd hate. But here's what changed. He wasn't just building furniture anymore. He was building proof, to himself, to his kids, to anyone watching, that 52 isn't the end of your usefulness. It's just the end of one chapter. 1 year after that box on his old desk, James's small workshop had 3 months of order backlogs. He'd hired a part-time helper, a 24-year-old who'd also been laid off from his first job out of college. James taught him everything his father had taught him. James told me something I haven't forgotten. He said, "The job didn't define me. I just thought it did, because it was the only story I'd been telling myself for 26 years. We attach our identity to titles, to paychecks, to the version of success other people taught us to want. And when that gets taken away, through a layoff, a failure, a rejection, it doesn't just feel like losing a job. It feels like losing yourself." But James's story teaches us something most people never learn until they're forced to. You are not your title. You are not your last paycheck. You are the thing you'd still choose to build, even if nobody paid you for it. That's not a comfortable lesson. Most people never test it, because most people never get forced to. James did. And on the other side of that forcing, he found a life that fit him better than the one he lost. If you're watching this and you're in your own version of that driveway, sitting there, not knowing how to walk in and tell someone the life you planned just fell apart, I want you to hear this. The ending you're afraid of might just be the door to the version of you that was waiting the whole time. You don't need a perfect plan. James didn't have one. He had one afternoon, one old chisel, and one small piece of wood. That's where every second chapter starts, small, uncertain, and completely worth it. If this story meant something to you, hit subscribe. I tell true stories like this every week, about people who lost everything and found something better on the other side. And if you know someone going through their own driveway moment right now, send them this video. Sometimes the right story at the right time is exactly what someone needs to keep going. I'll see you in the next one.